everyone, my name is Chloe and welcome to my summertime bingo vlog. So today is June 11th, it is Saturday, and we are just about to go to swim lessons, but I wanted to get on and let you know that I have started my first book. So I started a nonfiction called Ain't That a Mother by Adiba Nelson. So this is, she is, I think not just a writer, she is a writer and an advocate for cerebral palsy, I believe, because her daughter has cerebral palsy. And there's a lot of misconceptions about that. And so this book is about her experience, like pre-kids, getting pregnant, post-kids, and I just am starting and I'm not very far into it. I've got it on audio, and so I'll put a picture up because you won't be able to see the cover, but I'm liking it a lot so far. I think her sense of humor is really funny. I'm really enjoying it, and I definitely feel like I'm like hanging out with a friend, so it's very conversational. But so I'm working on checking that off. Also, we're about to take the girls to swimming lessons, and so I am going to bring an earbud and listen to it outside. So reading outside is another thing I will check off. So 2 birds, 1 stone, killing it. Let's do this. Hey everyone, so joke's on me thinking I would be able to like read and film while my kids are at the pool. Didn't happen, but I did listen to a little bit of the audiobook, but not enough. I didn't take a clip of it, so I'm going to say it doesn't count. But I have finished Ain't That a Mother, and I loved it. So this is just a really real portrayal of like becoming a mother and trying to break generational cycles and what that looks like and how hard it is to do, and becoming a mother, especially of a child with special needs. I learned a lot about cerebral palsy, and yet like that was not at all the focus. Like she just is clearly passionate about her daughter, and I loved it. I don't know who she is, and like I don't know. Normally I think like memoirs and stuff, I feel like I need to like already have like kind of like the person, but I definitely did not need that in this one. She reads the audiobook herself, and there were times where she was like clearly very emotional, and it like got me choked up, and there were times that I laughed. Like this is so good. If you are just a mother or interested in reading a story about like womanhood, because not all of it, she's not a mom in all of it. It talks about like her dating life and that kind of stuff, and I just thought it was so good. So 1 book done, and I'm gonna say no challenges, but we've got time. So yeah, it is crazy. This is actually like multiple days later because Annie had her 2nd birthday. Then we went on a little vacation to my parents' house, and my parents live in the town where we used to live, so we jam-packed it with tons of friends and spent like 5 hours in the pool, and it's just it was a busy time. So now we're home trying to get our ducks back in a row, and I thought I would update. So now I'll let you know next time I read another book for this challenge. Hey everyone, so it is June 30th. It is the last day of June, and right now I'm checking off a box for reading a book with stars on the cover, I think, and this is A Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. So this is my first Abby Jimenez book, and because like her other series, the first one, The Friend Zone or whatever, I heard has like a miraculous pregnancy, and as somebody who deals with infertility, I've heard it can be really triggering and really like harmful. So I did not read that, and to my knowledge that series is her only other works. I don't know if that's true or not. Tell me in the comments below. But I'm buddy reading this with Morgan from Nothing Better Than a Book because she was talking about it too, and I kind of knew like right now I'm not super in the mood for contemporary romance, and so I really knew that like having somebody to read with would really be helpful. I'm not loving this book. I'm definitely in the minority in this book. I do love some of the scenes. So this book, long story short, is about Sophie, not Sophie, I'm sorry, that was the last book I read. Jess was also a different book. I am blanking on her name. Alexis, I think. She is a ER doctor in the city, and she is like driving home from a funeral one day, and her car breaks down, and this like lumberjack guy kind of rescues her, takes her to this tiny little town, and tries to like give her help and food and stuff. and she just wants to go home, but they have like an instant connection, and it's so annoying. She's like, says over and over, I don't have one night stands, this isn't going to be a one night stand, and then boom, has a one night stand. So it's almost like it was a consensual situation, but it was like, I say no, but I mean yes. And I think that is a really harmful message, and that was just in the very beginning. And then the two have a relationship, like a long distance relationship that, you know, she keeps coming and stuff, and I feel like we're kind of in the dark about like why they like each other. And like for her it makes sense because she has a really terrible ex, and he is very much the opposite of everything her ex is, and so that makes sense to me, like why she's like attracted to him. It makes no sense why he's attracted to her. He continues to have this complex about like her being too good for him, even before he knows that she's an ER doctor. He still doesn't know at this point that like she's from this like family of legendary doctors, whatever, I don't know. And so there's really no, like, we're just not being shown why he likes her. And like they have supposedly these like 5-hour phone conversations that we're told about, but we don't get to see, like we don't get to see the bonding times. And so yes, there are super cute scenes. Like there's one at a drive-in that's really cute. There's one involving a dog and a squirrel that's super cute and all of that. But like, I just don't have the foundations of this relationship. And it's definitely more focused on the physical than the emotional, which is really a hard sell for me. And I feel like Morgan is also not loving it. And so we're kind of like spurring each other on, I feel like, and kind of not hate reading this book, because there's times I really like it. It just needed more development, and it needs more development in the relationship. I'm like 70% of the way through maybe. And like I keep wanting to pick it up because there are some really cute scenes, and there's like, I want to see how it's all going to end, and there's some drama going on that like I want to see how it's going to resolve, but I just don't really ship this couple. So I really do like our main male lead. His name is Daniel. He's definitely a cinnamon roll, and I think he's super sweet. I don't feel or understand like the connection between the characters. So we're sitting outside of tennis lessons. We're going to go in right now, and then hopefully I'll finish this later today and come on and let you know. Oh, also I did put a clip in just before of, I checked off the box of doing some reading sprints. Julie from Pages and Pens, she does productivity sprints, like I think it's every Sunday night maybe, and I just love her. She is more focused on writing now than reading, and her and I don't have similar tastes at reading at all, but I just really like her personality. So I tuned in for a while on that, and I read something that was not for this challenge, so I'm not gonna like talk about it, but it was really nice. Jeremy was giving the girls a bath, and I was just reading with sprints, and it was a great time. So I recorded that just for proof that I did it, although I don't plan on like that being my only sprint of the summer, but there we go. Check the box off, and I will check in later. Hey everyone. Okay, so update on my reading thus far for this project. So I finished A Part of Your World, or Part of Your World, The Part of Your World, I don't know what it's called, and I don't know where I left this off, but my overall feelings about it are that I can see why people are loving it. Excuse me. I can see why people are loving it for sure, because there's a lot of really cute scenes, and I think this would make like a super cute Hallmark movie or something like that. Like there's a lot of really charming scenes. Daniel, our protagonist, or like our male lead, he is awesome. He's like cinnamon roll, sweetest guy ever, knows how to charm a woman, knows how to take care of himself and his stuff. And like, he is a really great character. But that doesn't change that, like, I didn't really feel the connection between the two of them. I felt like we were told and not shown a lot of the emotional connection. So overall, I'm giving this like 3.5 stars. The ending, if I was bought into the couple, it would have been like a really epic romantic ending. But because of like the lack of buy-in, it felt a little melodramatic and over the top, but it was good. I'm not sure if I talked about this in the last clip, but the mention of abuse in this book is definitely prevalent. So there's 3 different stories of abuse. Our main character was abused by her dad as well as her ex. And then another character is being abused by her husband. And I really appreciated that it brought to light the multiple formats that abuse can take. It doesn't always have to be physical. It doesn't always have to be a certain way or look a certain way. I just really wanted more of like, so how did that affect our main character in her future relationships? Or how is she working through that? Because being abused by both her father and her ex, that will create a lot of scars in you. And so it almost fell into that trope of like Daniel came and saved her and like the true love, now she's fine. And that's not really like the message I think is like good to portray. So between that and like her saying I don't do one night stands, no, and then like I actually mean yes, like both of those things felt kind of icky to me, and just like not enough justice was served to such a heavy topic. So overall though, like I said, 3.5 stars. I see why people are loving this. I don't love it, but I liked it. I'm going to keep it on my shelves, and I will read more Abby Jimenez because the steam level was tolerable for me. It wasn't super over the top, but it's definitely there in some instances. And overall, I liked it, and I really loved buddy reading this with Morgan. So Morgan, thank you if you're watching this. Then I read The Dinner Guests, which counts for the prompt of a 2022 release. So this is The Dinner Guests by Kiersten Modglin, and it's my second one from her. And the first one I read, I did not like at all. I gave it like 2 stars. Didn't like it at all. I've heard such praise for her, but then like really I've only heard praise for the arrangement by her. And now that like I'm really like paying attention, I'm seeing more like negative reviews of her books and things. But I'm so happy to say I liked this one a lot. I gave it 4 stars. So it's also really ironic timing that I read this. So it's about this, like, I pictured it as a cul-de-sac, and I'm not sure if that's what it was or not, if it's just a street or if it's a cul-de-sac or whatever. But it is about this new family or couple that is moving into this house on the street. And they are super mysterious, I guess is the word I would say. So they're putting a lot of security into their house. We don't really know why. We don't really see them or know like what their story is or anything like that. And so all the neighbors are super curious, and all the neighbors are people who went to high school together, and now they are living within the same couple houses of each other. So it's 3 women and their spouses, or one of them is single and she's got like a guy friend or whatever. So all of them get invitations over to the new people's houses, and they're super weird. It's like a letter left at their door, like a very formal kind of invitation. So they're like, okay, well, we want to know like what these people's story is. We're going to go. So they go. It's 6 people. Like I said, one is a dentist. One is, I can't even remember. Their professions don't really matter, but they all go, and it's like a dinner theater / escape room, because when they say like they're going to go leave, they can't. They're locked in. So it's a closed room mystery where they are all trying to figure out what is going on. Like, is somebody trying to kill them? Is this some sort of game? What is going on? And as with all Kiersten Modglin books, this was short. It was under 300 pages, and I felt like it was really good for this. We got enough backstory of each of the characters. We got enough of like the drama without it ever getting slow, and I just felt like it was really good. I gave it 4 stars. I would say the characters are, there's a little bit of lack of development where they all kind of sound similar, but I was able to keep them straight pretty easily. And again, for an under 300 page book, I felt like that's kind of the trade-off you get. You don't get a ton of like character development, but there's enough time that goes by before the like escape room stuff starts that like I do feel like you get a connection to the characters. So overall, I would say 4 stars. I am not going to write her off completely now, but I might kind of let other reviews trickle in of other things before, or like look up reviews of other things before I dive in, because I've heard very high highs and very low lows in her book. So if you've read any, let me know. I'm assuming the arrangement is where I should go next, but I don't really know. So that is all the reading I have done. It is July 3rd, and it is so gloomy. We have had the gloomiest weekend, but then tomorrow is going to be like 98 and sunshine. So we'll see what tomorrow is like. We have a lot of outdoor plans, and so like right now it is 73 degrees at 9:30 in the morning, and that would be like a glorious way to spend 4th of July when you're going to be outside a lot, but I don't think we're going to get so lucky. So, that's what's going on. I will check in later. Hey everyone. So it is a rare day where it's not 110 degrees by like 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'm sitting outside, and just briefly though, because it is still pretty hot, but I finished The Other People by C.J. Tudor, and I can't remember what prompt this fulfills, but I will definitely like summarize everything at the end and let you know what I read for what prompt, because I think I'm switching some books around, but whatever, that's not what I'm here to talk about. The Other People, C.J. Tudor. So I found all of C.J. Tudor books at Half Price Books for $3, and I've never read anything by her, and I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. So I just got this one, and I'm really glad I just got this one because I'm giving it 2 stars. So it may be a wrong book, wrong time situation, because it's the first book I read after the 4th of July weekend, and we kind of had a crazy weekend, and I'm just feeling like kind of scattered getting back into things. But I felt like this had way too many characters, way too many timelines, and like it jumps around so much that I was like, I don't know. But really the biggest problem I had with it was just how many plot holes there are. And they're like gaping plot holes and things that make no sense. And like for example, the premise is this guy named Gabe, he is driving in traffic trying to get home, and he thinks he sees his little daughter in the backseat of a car yelling or like saying help or saying daddy or something. And so then he starts this like high speed chase to try to find this car. Well, wait, wasn't it just stopped traffic? Like, how is this a thing? And like, if so, then how did it not like attract more attention? I don't know. And then like the whole, there's some like question he doesn't believe. So somebody is found dead and he doesn't believe it was his daughter. Okay, well, let's do DNA tests. Like, this is not written a long time ago. This is written in present day, for more or less, and like they talk about DNA evidence. Fingerprint him, do DNA, something. Like, let's see, was this his daughter or not? Let's like definitively answer that, but then we wouldn't have had the rest of the book. So we get his perspective, as well as a waitress named Katie and a woman named Fran, maybe, and her daughter Alice, as well as like a caretaker named Miriam. And all of these storylines conveniently intertwine at the end. There is a paranormal element, which I've heard now that I'm like looking at reviews, I've heard C.J. Tudor books typically have. And this one felt really like tossed in there at the end, out of place. I also felt like there were pacing issues, and like the first half was really fast and then it slowed down. Honestly, like I just didn't like a lot about this. And like, so The Other People is this like collective of people that all understand what it's like to have lost somebody. And so they basically do revenge killings. I mean, they say that's not what it is, but that's basically what it is. And I don't know. I felt like The Collective, I just read that book not too long ago. I felt like that did the whole like secret society, dark web thing so much better than this. And like, there's still, I can't talk about the things that don't make sense because they're spoilers. But there are still things like upon finishing it that I'm like, that makes no sense at all. And like, it doesn't have to make complete sense. I know, like, I'm okay with suspending my disbelief at some point, but like there's so much that like was clearly only done and or left out for the sake of furthering the plot. So, I'm gonna keep this book on my shelves just because maybe if I read it at a different time when I was like, now that I have expectations, I don't know, you guys. If you really love it, let's talk. If you feel like me, let's talk. Like, I don't know. This just was not the book for me, at least not right now. So on to the next.
Hey everyone, so I just turned on my camera and I see our little Tykes car right behind me, and I was gonna move it, and then I thought, whatever, this is life. So it is Sunday, July 10th, and I have finished another book, and I'm in the middle of another one too. So C.J. Tudor, I will do a wrap up in the end, but that was my new to me author. I've never read a C.J. Tudor book, and honestly after that one I'm not really like itching to go read more. But so then I read Angry Housewives Eating Bonbons by Lorna Landvik, and I think this was also a new to me author. I'm not for sure. I don't think I've read any Lorna Landvik, but this one I read for a book in my favorite genre. So this book is about 5 women who start a book club.
And it's just all of their different stories throughout life. This book specifically spans about 30 years. So you follow these women and their friendship in the book club from the 60s to the 90s. And I really liked that. That is definitely like in my wheelhouse of favorite genres, because this is hardcore women's fiction. Like, it is just the story of all these women, their relationship with each other, as well as their relationships with their families and that kind of stuff. This book specifically, I gave 3 stars because first of all, I think I've read enough of these books that I have found my personal preference is like 3, max 4 women as like the point of views, because with 5, it felt like a lot. And it also spans, like I said, 30 plus years. And so that is just a lot to cover it's like a 400-ish page book. And so it's a fairly long book, but I mean, still, you can't go into as much as you want to, given the fact that you're spanning 5 women, 30 years, all this stuff. And so, like, there's marriages that end, babies that are born, there's abusive situations, all of those things that, like, are touched on, but we don't really, like, how did she get out of that relationship? Or wait, why did that marriage end? Whose baby, like, it just all kind of felt like every time you turned around, there was a marriage ending or a baby being born or whatever. There were parts of this book that I loved. And like the beginning, I was so engaged. And the chapters, like, there aren't chapters, but instead it is like this. Like, it's a title of the book club meeting. So it says May 1970, who's the host, which Slip is the character that's hosting this one. What's the name of the book and the reason it was chosen. And then it talks about that, and generally that will be from that, like, hostess's perspective, that chapter, for lack of better words, but it also jumps around perspectives a little bit too much. So I really liked the idea of this book. I just think it could have been pared down and made so much better. So either do like I did like the 30-year span, because of course they're young, new mothers in the 60s. And then by the 90s, they're grandparents, and one of them has a health issue and different things like that. So definitely triggering. Don't read this if you're in the middle of like a health issue, a severe health issue, because there would definitely be some emotional parts. But overall, I think the 30-year span worked better. I just would have preferred maybe like 3 women, so we could really hone in on their stories and not be quite so broad, and like quick moving on things. But overall, I do love this genre. I love that it was like very bookish. I loved a lot about it, but this one just wasn't my favorite. So next, I should have grabbed it, but it's upstairs, so I'm not going to go grab it. I'm reading Handle with Care by Jodi Picoult. So this could be a 5-star prediction, but what I'm reading it for is one of Sarah or Lindsey's favorite authors. So Jodi Picoult is so great. She writes, I don't know what you would call them. Like, in my classification system, I kind of call them women's fiction, but they're definitely, I hate to say like more than that, because I feel like women's fiction gets a bad rap, but they are like, almost all come with like a moral dilemma of what would you do. And they're all really hard hitting. They generally involve some sort of court case or trial or something where you, like, somebody has been wronged, but have they? And you really question like, what side would you fall on things? So this one is about a girl, a family. They're a husband and wife. She came into the marriage with an older daughter, and now they have decided to have a child together. And so the baby is born with, it's called OI. It's basically a condition in which her bones are very, very, very brittle. So she, in fact, like in utero, they could see that she had a certain amount of fractured bones, and then like the birth process broke a bunch of bones. And so she immediately had to be like put into different restraints and things to get her bones to heal. And she will never be above the size of a toddler. And just life will look a lot different for this little girl. And so it's the parents, and her best friend was like her OB, and there's some stuff that maybe the OB might have missed. And so something happens. They take a trip to Disney World, and they have to travel with this letter stating her condition, because otherwise, if she falls, which she did in Disney, she just fell on a napkin or something and broke both of her femurs. And so the police look at her parents like,
she's had this many breaks and stuff, and they forgot the note. So they're mistreated as far as the husband thinks. The husband is a police officer, so he feels like they're mistreated. He goes and gets a lawyer involved, and they're like, well, you don't really have a case because they were just doing their job, given that you didn't have the note. But you may have a case with the OB because this could have been caught sooner. And so they're kind of deciding, do we pursue that or not, especially given that the OB is her best friend. And I don't know. I mean, I definitely have opinions on this. I don't really want to talk about it because I feel like it could be spoilery. And I really feel like part of the appeal of Jodi's books is just going in and like making your own opinions about what you would do. So I definitely have an opinion. And I'm just falling in love with this little girl. At the time now that I'm at, she's 5 years old, and she's had quite a few different stumbles, but she is just this fiery little thing that has so much life in this tiny little broken body, and she's wonderful, and I'm loving it. So this could be a 5-star prediction. I don't know that it'll quite get there because I do have like a pretty strong opinion about what's going on, and so I don't know how long I'll be invested if it keeps going back and forth, but we'll see. So it is a long book. I'm listening to it on audio because physical reading has just kind of been hard to do, and it's a long book. And so it's an 18-hour audiobook. I'm not very far into it, but I'm enjoying it quite a bit. So that is what I'm reading right now, and I will check in later. Hey everyone. So funny story. I'm like maybe a block away from my house because it is 5 o'clock on some day, Tuesday. And the air conditioning guys are at our house because our air conditioning has not been working, which has been lovely. But so that means Jeremy is upstairs, like helping them do stuff. And so the girls stayed with him, and I went to the library to pick up Heartstopper Volume 2 because I'm obsessed. And then I was like, oh, I need to update. Oh, I'm in a quiet car by myself. So here I am, parked a block away from my house, hoping my family doesn't see me. So, I have finished Handle with Care by Jodi Picoult, and this is one of Lindsey's favorite authors. I have not written my review yet, and every time I vlog prior to writing my review, I regret it because I always forget things. But, so I think I've talked a fair amount about this book. So I think you guys like know what I'm talking about as far as what it's about. My thoughts on it, like I said, I had an opinion, pretty early on about like what I wanted her to do. And so, or like what I thought was like the right thing to do. So it wasn't like my all-time favorite Jodi, but I would still probably give it like 4 stars because again, I had no idea about this, OI. It's also called like brittle bone syndrome. It's something with the collagen in your bones. It's an abnormality in that, and so your bones are super brittle and you break them a lot. And so I had never heard about that. And again, like she makes me fall down rabbit holes of researching and things about this. So I love that. The court case and stuff also did draw some questions about what does it mean to be, what kinds of lives are worth living, which again, I have a really strong stance on, and I'm not necessarily going to get into that. But it was an interesting thing to see multiple perspectives on. And I would say this book really brings like ableist things to conversation and to light. And so, yeah, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to, like, it's such a long kind of slow burn that I don't want to give away anything at the end. I also did not love the ending at all, really. Like, I feel like I can't say anything because I don't want to ruin this, but this is a good Jodi book. It's a good Jodi book. So, 4 stars on that. Now I'm reading The Beach House by Jane Green. And this one is maybe a favorite author of mine. I mean, she is the favorite author of mine. I can't remember if that's the prompt I'm using it for, but this one is about this woman who, she's like in her 60s, I think. She's an older woman. Her husband is
died or something. She has a son. All of her money is in like hedge funds and stuff, and then they go south, and so she runs out of money. She lives on Nantucket in a really nice house, and she just kind of lives life like by the seat of her pants. She goes skinny dipping in her neighbor's yards. Like, this chick just sounds hilarious. She gives zero thought into what other people think, and I love that about her. However, now that she's out of money, she's like, shoot, what do I do? Her house would sell for a ton, but they would probably destroy it and like develop stuff on the land, and she would have nowhere to go. So she doesn't want to do that. And so she starts renting out rooms in her house. Now, I'm probably a quarter of the way through, and she's just now starting to rent out rooms. And I really like that, actually, about Jane Green, because we're getting to know all the different storylines and all the different people that are going to come stay at her place. We're getting to know them before they come to the house. And so there's one couple that they are having marriage issues, and the man thinks he is gay, and so he is scared to come out to his wife and kind of scared to face that part of himself and put that out there. And so there's that storyline going on. There is another storyline of a couple who has just been divorced, and the husband has moved on, and the daughter's having some issues with that, and I think the mom is going to go stay in this place. I think there's one more storyline, but maybe not. I don't know. And I'm really enjoying it. I like that she lets us get to know the characters before they all interact. So far so good. Really good, kind of mindless chick lit for right now. And I'm needing that right now. So it feels good. And that's it. So now I'm going to go home and make dinner and do all the things. And hopefully read some Heartstopper and Beach House. But Heartstopper takes 30 minutes, and I can't wait to read it. Hey everyone, so I am coming to you just the next day, I think, because I have finished The Beach House by Jane Green, and I like this one. I gave it 4 stars. When I updated last and I said I was a quarter of the way through and she was just having tenants come in, I was wrong. I was almost halfway through. So if you are not into ones that take a while to develop, just take that with a grain of salt. That's kind of what this is, but not really. This is definitely a character study of, so it's the woman who her husband has left her or is cheating on her. Then it's the older lady that lives in Nantucket, her house, it's her son. And then another lady who has found out her husband is gay. And so it's all of them coming. And really, the synopsis doesn't do this justice, because like I said, that doesn't happen till halfway, that they all come together. And also, you would have no idea that they're all living in the same place, except it casually mentions it once or twice. But really, it's just all the different storylines and how they intersect. And so I feel like the synopsis didn't really do this justice, but I still really enjoyed it. There were some things I didn't love. It is early 2000s women's fiction, chick lit, call it whatever. And yeah, there's a massive spider. I'm sitting outside. There's a massive spider crawling on my house. So yikes. But I think he just flew on a web somewhere else. Yikes. So I like that. 4 stars. She's still one of my favorite authors. Kind of, you know what you're going to get. Not going to be mind-blowing, but good. Pretty closed door. I mean, definitely closed door. I don't remember really any steamy scenes, which I like. This had romance in it, but it was definitely more women's fiction, which is what I prefer. So then I read Heartstopper, and that wasn't going to be a part of my bingo board, but I am going to make that my 5-star prediction, because I loved Heartstopper Volume 1. So I was assuming number 2 would also be a 5-star. And I think it was. I mean, I didn't like it as well as the first one, but I can't tell you anything wrong with it. I really like this story. It's about Sam and Charlie. In the first book, we saw them become friends, and now there's a little bit more going on. And there's a lot of just discussion about identity and sexual orientation and figuring all that out. This one definitely felt, well, I don't know if that's true. I was going to say this one definitely felt more like YA teeny than the other one did, but I mean, I think they're both definitely YA, because these are high school kids figuring themselves out. And what I love so much about the series is it's very reminiscent of your first love. Like the way these guys feel about each other and the way they act and all of that is just very, for me, nostalgic of my first love. And like there were times when, as a 33-year-old married woman with kids and all that kind of stuff, it's like, oh gosh, you're like silly. But I remember doing those exact things as a 16-year-old or whatever. And like the giddiness and the texting and all of that. Of course, that was different when I was 16 because that was a minute ago. So like texting and things weren't quite as what they are now. But actually, I think I got my first phone when I was 16, and it was just because I was driving. And I remember it had the old school Snake, and that was like the only game on it. And I don't remember, like, texting was not the main form of communication. But anyway, I could still understand the feelings. And I just like these guys are young, but they're really like mature and patient with each other. They communicate well. And that's all stuff that you don't see in a lot of relationships and like adult relationships. So, yeah, I would say, I mean, I can't think of a reason not to give it 5 stars. So 5 stars for that. So that's a lot of prompts knocked off. I really need to get better about like the like action prompts, because I think I've read outside, but I don't think I've gotten video of it. And I have done sprints and I have gotten some video of that. I don't even know what the other ones are, so I need to look. But I think that's all for now. I think that's all. I'm reading a book that I'm not sure if it's for this vlog or not, so that's where it like gets messy with. I'm reading Someone We Know by Sherry LaPena, and I'm not going to update about it now because, like I said, I'm not sure if it fits on the bingo board. I need to like refresh my bingo board and look at it and see what I've done. But that is it for now. I will check in later.